You wake up on a Tuesday morning and realize something unsettling. You can't remember what you did yesterday, not because your memory is failing, but because nothing you did felt like it mattered. You paid bills. You scrolled through news that made you anxious. You had a phone call with someone who barely listened. You went to bed feeling busy, but somehow empty. And then a question arrives, quiet but insistent. After 70 years of living, why does it still feel like I'm missing what's important? Here's what the Buddha understood, that most people spend entire lifetimes never discovering. The problem isn't that life lacks meaning. The problem is that we scatter our attention across 1,000 things that don't nourish us, leaving no energy for the few things that do. At 70, you've been given a gift most people your age refuse to open. The gift of clarity. Your body has slowed you down. Your obligations have fallen away. The noise that once drowned out wisdom has finally quieted enough for you to hear it. This isn't decline. This is your invitation to focus, finally, fully, on what truly matters. And today, through 6 ancient Buddhist teachings, you'll discover exactly what that means. Lesson 1. Release what no longer serves your soul. After 70 years of accumulating possessions, relationships, habits, beliefs, your home is probably full. But here's the question the Buddha would ask: is any of it actually feeding your spirit? There's a Zen story about a monk who kept a single bowl, a robe, and nothing else. When a wealthy merchant visited and saw the monk's bare room, he asked, "Where is your furniture? Where is your belongings?" The monk smiled and replied, "Where are yours? You're just traveling through, aren't you?" The merchant nodded. "Of course, I'm only visiting." The monk's smile deepened. "So am I." The merchant stood there for a long moment, looking around the empty room. Then he looked down at his own silk robes, his jeweled rings, the heavy bag of coins at his belt. "But I have responsibilities," he said. "A family, a business. I cannot live with nothing." "I didn't say live with nothing," the monk replied gently. "I said live with only what serves you. Everything else is just weight you're choosing to carry. You too are just visiting this life. Everything you own, you will leave behind. Every role you've played, parent, employee, spouse, will eventually be released. The question isn't whether you'll let go. The question is, will you let go consciously, with grace, while you still have time to enjoy the lightness? The Buddha taught, you only lose what you cling to, not what you love, not what you cherish, what you cling to, what you grasp with white knuckles, desperate to freeze in place. That's what causes suffering. Think about it. When you hold a bird too tightly, you crush it. When you hold it gently, it may fly away, but it also may choose to stay. The same is true for everything in your life. Clinging doesn't preserve, it suffocates. Margaret, 74, learned this the hard way. After her husband died, she stayed in their 4-bedroom house for another 3 years. She couldn't bear to sort through his things. Every closet was full of clothes he'd never wear again. Every drawer held receipts, keys to cars long sold, warranties for appliances that had broken years ago. "I thought keeping his things meant keeping him," she told me one afternoon, sitting in her kitchen with a cup of tea growing cold between her hands. The light came through the window at an angle, illuminating the dust motes floating in the air. But really, I was just living in a museum of the past. She paused, her fingers tracing the rim of the cup. I'd walk from room to room, touching his sweater, his reading glasses, his favorite coffee mug. I'd feel him everywhere, but I couldn't feel my own life anymore. I was haunting my own house, waiting for a ghost that was never coming back. One morning, she woke up and made a decision. One item per day, that's all. One thing she no longer needed. The first day, she chose a magazine from 2019. The second day, a broken lamp. The third day, a shirt she'd never liked. By the end of the first month, she'd released 30 things. By the end of 6 months, her house felt lighter, and so did she. The day I finally gave away his favorite jacket, she said, I cried. Hard. I sat on the closet floor and held it to my face and sobbed. But then, after the tears stopped, I sat in that empty closet and realized something. She looked at me, her eyes clear. He's not in that jacket. He never was. He's in my heart. He's in the way I still laugh at the jokes he used to tell. He's in the kindness I learned from watching him. I'd been guarding objects when what I should have been guarding was my peace, my ability to keep living. This is what Buddhists call non-attachment, not the absence of love, but the absence of clinging. You can cherish a memory without hoarding the objects that represent it. You can honor the past without letting it crowd out the present. Non-attachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care without grasping, love without possessing, remember without being imprisoned by what's gone. Here's a practice the Buddha encouraged his disciples to use. Sit quietly in your home. Look around. Choose one object, just one, that you've been holding on to out of habit, not love. It might be clothing that no longer fits, a gift you never liked, a broken tool you keep meaning to fix. Hold it in your hands. Really feel its weight, its texture. Thank it for whatever role it played in your life. Say it out loud if you need to. Thank you for being here. I release you now. Then let it go. Donate it, discard it, give it away. Notice what happens in your chest when you let it go. That small exhale, that lightness in your shoulders. That's freedom arriving, one object at a time. This isn't about minimalism. It's about making space. Space in your home. Space in your mind. Space for what actually matters. Presence, peace, and the people who still light up your heart. Lesson 2. Protect your attention, like the treasure it is. You've probably noticed something strange about modern life. Everyone wants a piece of your mind. The news demands it. The phone begs for it. The endless notifications, the social media, the family members asking for favors, the strangers at the grocery store sharing their opinions, all of it wants your attention. At 70, your attention is the most precious resource you have left. More precious than your time even. Because you can have hours in the day and still waste them on things that drain you. But when you guard your attention, when you consciously choose where to place it, even 10 minutes become sacred. The Buddha once said, "What we think, we become, not what we wish for, not what we intend, what we actually give our attention to, day after day, moment after moment." That becomes the texture of our inner life, the quality of our peace. There's a Buddhist parable about a farmer whose horse ran away. His neighbor rushed over and said, "What terrible luck." The farmer replied calmly, "Maybe." The next day, the horse returned, bringing 3 wild horses with it. The neighbor exclaimed, "What wonderful luck." The farmer said, "Maybe." Then the farmer's son tried to tame one of the wild horses and broke his leg. The neighbor cried, "How awful! What misfortune!" And the farmer said only, "Maybe." A week later, the army came through the village, conscripting all the young men for war. But because the farmer's son had a broken leg, he wasn't taken. The neighbor ran over, breathless. "What incredible fortune! Your son is saved." And the farmer looked at him with quiet eyes and said, "Maybe." The lesson: where you place your attention on fortune or misfortune, on what you can control or what you cannot, on gratitude or grievance, shapes everything. The farmer didn't waste his attention judging each event as good or bad. He simply observed what was. And in that focus, in that refusal to let his mind be pulled into endless reactions, he found a peace no external circumstance could disturb. This is what the Buddha called right effort, directing your energy toward what liberates you, not what imprisons you. He identified 4 types of effort: preventing unwholesome thoughts from arising, abandoning those that have already arisen, cultivating wholesome thoughts, and maintaining those already present. In practical terms, stop feeding the thoughts that make you suffer. Stop clicking on news that enrages you. Stop engaging with people who leave you feeling diminished. Stop scrolling through images of lives you'll never live. And instead, water the thoughts that bring peace, gratitude, kindness, presence, wonder. The modern world is designed to steal your focus. Algorithms have been engineered specifically to hijack your attention, to keep you scrolling, clicking, consuming. But you've lived long enough to know better. You've earned the right to say, not this, not anymore. My attention is mine to give, and I choose where it goes. Try this practice that Buddhist monks use to guard their awareness. Before you pick up your phone, before you turn on the news, before you scroll through anything, pause, just for 3 seconds. Place your hand on your heart. Feel it beating there, steady and faithful. Then ask, will this nourish me or drain me? Will this bring me closer to peace or pull me further from it? Listen to your body's answer. Your body always knows. A tightness in the chest, a clenching in the stomach, that means drain. A softness, a gentle exhale, a sense of opening, that means nourishment. Then choose accordingly, not out of judgment, but out of love for yourself. You don't owe the world your attention. You owe yourself a mind that's clear, calm, and focused on what actually brings you peace. Everything else is just noise pretending to be important. Lesson 3. Choose depth over width in every relationship. At 70, you've probably learned a painful truth. Not everyone who was in your life should stay there. Some friendships were built for a season, not a lifetime. Some family relationships take far more than they give. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for yourself, and even for them, is to gently, lovingly step back. There's a teaching from the sutras where the Buddha spoke to his cousin Ananda about spiritual friendship. Ananda said, "Venerable Sir, this is half of the holy life. Admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie." The Buddha corrected him, "Don't say that, Ananda. Don't say that. Admirable friendship, admirable camaraderie is actually the whole of the holy life, not part of it, not a nice addition, the whole of it." Think about that. The Buddha, who taught about meditation, mindfulness, wisdom, compassion, said that who you walk beside is the entire path. Because your companions shape your thoughts, your peace, your very capacity to awaken. He didn't say tolerate everyone. He didn't say sacrifice yourself to keep the peace. He said, choose wisely who walks beside you. Your energy is finite now, more finite than it's ever been. You can't afford to spend it on people who leave you feeling smaller, criticized, anxious, or drained. There's another story about the Buddha himself. One day, a man came to him filled with rage. He stood before the Buddha and began hurling insults, vicious, personal, unrelenting. He called the Buddha a fraud, a fool, a deceiver. The monks nearby tensed, ready to defend their teacher. But the Buddha sat quietly, his face calm, saying nothing. He simply listened. Finally, the man ran out of words. Exhausted, he stood there, breathing hard. The Buddha looked at him with gentle eyes and asked, if someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong? The man hesitated, confused. To the one who offered it, I suppose. The Buddha smiled softly. Just so. I do not accept your anger. I do not accept your insults. They remain yours. You may keep them or release them. That is your choice. But they do not become mine unless I take them. You too can choose what you accept into your life. Just because someone offers you their chaos, their criticism, their demands, their negativity, doesn't mean you must receive them. You can let those offerings remain with the giver. The Buddha also taught, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Read that again. You yourself. Not everyone else first, and then you if there's anything left over. You, as much as anybody. At 70, you've earned the right to be selective, to invest your limited precious heart energy in relationships that feel like rest, not labor, to say no without guilt, to walk away without explanation, to choose peace over obligation. Here's how to practice this. Take out a piece of paper. Write down the names of 5 or 6 people you spend the most time with, whether in person, on the phone, or in your thoughts. Next to each name, write one word describing how you feel after spending time with them. Just one honest word. Light, heavy, seen, invisible, energized, exhausted, peaceful, anxious. Now look at what you've written. Really look. Who consistently makes you feel heavier? Who leaves you questioning your worth, second-guessing your choices, or feeling like you're never quite enough? You don't have to cut them out dramatically. You don't have to have a confrontation. Just stop reaching out. Stop being the one who always calls. Stop making yourself available every time they need something. Create space. Then notice what fills the space. Often it's peace, sweet, surprising peace. And sometimes it's new people or old friends who were waiting quietly for room to enter. Focus on depth, not width. One true friend who knows your heart, who sees you clearly, who brings ease to your being. That person is worth more than 20 acquaintances who know only your name. This is metta, loving kindness, and it begins always with yourself. Lesson 4. Live from your values, not your habits. You've been alive for 70 years. That's over 25,000 mornings, over 600,000 hours, millions of minutes, each one a choice about where to direct your energy, your attention, your irreplaceable life force. And if you're honest with yourself, how many of those mornings did you actually choose how to spend your day? How many did you wake up and consciously decide, this is what matters to me today, and this is what I'll let go? Most of us don't live from intention. We live from habit. We do what we've always done, because we've always done it. We follow routines we no longer remember choosing. We say yes to things we don't care about, and no to things that might nourish us. All because we're running on autopilot, following tracks laid down decades ago. But here's what the Buddha taught. Awareness is liberation. The very moment you wake up and consciously choose, this is how I want to spend my precious, irreplaceable energy today, everything changes. There's a Buddhist parable about a man carrying a heavy boulder up a mountain. Day after day, he struggled under its weight, sweating, straining, his back bent with the burden. Halfway up the mountain, a monk sat beneath a tree, watching. Finally he called out, "Friend, why are you carrying that stone?" The man stopped, setting down the boulder to catch his breath. He looked at the monk, then at the stone, then back at the monk. "I don't know," he said slowly. "I've always carried it. For as long as I can remember." The monk smiled. "Then perhaps," he said gently, "it's time to set it down." The man stared at the boulder. He couldn't even remember where he'd picked it up, or why. He'd just been carrying it, year after year, because that's what he did. He walked away from it, and the lightness he felt in that moment was like being born again. What are you still carrying, simply because you always have? William, 76, realized he'd been attending church every Sunday for 60 years, not because it nourished his soul, but because his mother had told him to when he was 8 years old. It had become reflex, routine, obligation. He didn't even believe half of what was preached anymore, but stopping felt like betrayal, like failure, like becoming someone he didn't recognize. One Sunday, I just didn't go, he told me, sitting in the garden where he now spends Sunday mornings. Birds moved through the branches above us. The air smelled of honeysuckle and warm earth. I woke up, and instead of rushing to get dressed, I sat in my backyard with my coffee. I watched the light move through the trees. I listened to the silence beneath the birdsong. I let my mind rest. He paused, his weathered hands resting on the arms of his chair. I felt more connected to something sacred in those 2 hours than I had in decades of sitting in a pew, singing songs I didn't mean, listening to sermons that didn't speak to me anymore. He looked at me, his eyes bright. That's when I understood what the Buddha meant about awakening. It's not about following someone else's path, someone else's rules, someone else's definition of what's holy. It's about finally walking your own. It's about honoring who you've become, not who you were expected to be. This is the practice of sati, mindfulness. Not doing more, but noticing what you're doing and asking with compassion, does this align with who I am now or who I used to be? Your values at 70 are not your values at 30. You know this. You've changed. You've grown. You've learned what matters and what's just performance, what nourishes and what depletes. So why are you still living as if you haven't? The Buddha said, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. And part of that present moment is asking, am I living from my values right now, or am I living from yesterday's habits, yesterday's fears, yesterday's version of myself? Try this reflection practice every morning before your feet touch the floor, before you check your phone or think about your to-do list. Sit on the edge of your bed. Place your hand on your heart and ask yourself, what do I value most right now in my life? Not what you used to value. What do you value now, today, in this season of your life? Maybe it's peace. Maybe it's connection. Maybe it's simply feeling alive in small moments. Maybe it's contributing something meaningful. Maybe it's rest. Then ask a second question. Does how I plan to spend today honor that value? Be honest. If the answer is no, adjust. Even one small shift. Cancel the obligation that drains you. Say yes to the walk you've been putting off. Call the person you've been thinking about. Sit in silence instead of turning on the news. Living from your values isn't complicated. It doesn't require a monastery or a mountaintop. It just requires consciousness. And consciousness, the Buddha taught, is where freedom lives. Lesson 5. Savor the ordinary as if it were sacred. At 70, you've probably noticed something interesting about memory. The big moments, the weddings, the promotions, the vacations, the achievements, aren't what you remember most vividly anymore. It's the small things that shine brightest now. The way your grandmother's kitchen smelled on Sunday mornings, the sound of rain on the roof when you were a child, a conversation with a friend on an ordinary Tuesday that somehow changed everything, the feeling of your child's small hand in yours, the taste of your mother's cooking, the laugh of someone you loved. This is what Buddhism has been teaching for 2,500 years. The sacred is hidden in the ordinary, not someday when life gets better, not in some distant enlightened state, not in the extraordinary moments we spend our lives chasing. Right here, right now, in the taste of your morning tea, in the warmth of sunlight on your skin, in the quiet rhythm of your own breath. The Buddha once said, "Do not overlook tiny good actions, thinking they are of no benefit. Even tiny drops of water in the end will fill a huge vessel. And if tiny good actions matter, how much more do tiny present moments?" There's a story about a Zen master who lived in a monastery high in the mountains. Students would travel for months to learn from him, expecting profound teachings, secret practices, mystical revelations. One day, a new student arrived and asked, "Master, what is enlightenment? What is the great secret?" The master replied simply, "When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." The student was confused, almost offended. "But doesn't everyone do that? That's just ordinary life." The master smiled, his eyes twinkling. "No," he said, "when most people eat, they think about yesterday's argument or tomorrow's meeting. When they sleep, they worry about what they didn't finish or what might go wrong. They are never fully where they are. They are always half present, half somewhere else, and they miss their entire lives doing it." He leaned forward. "When I eat, I taste the rice, feel its texture, notice its warmth. When I sleep, I sleep. When I walk, I feel each step." This is enlightenment, being fully present for the life you're actually living. Are you? Most of us spend our entire lives overlooking the ordinary, waiting for something more impressive to happen. We eat breakfast while planning lunch. We walk without noticing our feet touching the earth. We talk to loved ones while thinking about what to say next. We rush through the present moment to get to the next one, and the next, until suddenly 70 years have passed, and we can't remember where they went. This practice, mindfulness of the present moment, doesn't require you to meditate for hours. It doesn't require special cushions or incense or robes. It just requires you to stop doing two things at once, to be where you are, fully, completely, even for just 5 minutes. Here's how to begin. Choose one daily activity, just one. Maybe it's your morning coffee or tea. Maybe it's washing your hands. Maybe it's the first few steps you take when you get out of bed. For that one activity, commit to being fully present. No phone, no thoughts about what's next. No planning, no reviewing. Just you and the moment, meeting each other like old friends. When you make your morning tea, notice the sound of water filling the kettle. Watch the steam rise. Feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. Smell the tea as it steeps. Take the first sip slowly, paying attention to the taste, the temperature, the sensation as you swallow. When you wash your hands, feel the water, really feel it. Notice its temperature. Watch it move over your skin. Feel the soap, slippery and smooth. Listen to the sound of water hitting the sink. Do this every day. Same activity. Full attention. No exceptions. Over time, something miraculous happens. Presence becomes natural. And when presence becomes natural, life stops feeling rushed and empty. It starts feeling full, rich with textures, sensations, and small miracles you'd been missing all along. At 70, you don't need more time. You need more presence in the time you have. And presence is always, always available. You just have to choose it. Lesson 6. Let go of everything except this breath. The final lesson is the simplest and the hardest. After 70 years, you've accumulated so much. Not just possessions, but identities. Mother, father, employee, manager, spouse, friend, the capable one, the strong one, the reliable one, the one everyone counts on. But who are you when all those roles fall away? Who are you in the silence, when no one is asking anything of you, when there's nothing left to prove, nothing left to perform? The Buddha taught an etta, the truth of no fixed self. You are not your roles. You are not your history. You are not your achievements or your failures. You are not even your thoughts. You are the awareness beneath all of it, the stillness that remains when everything else has been stripped away. And here's the profound gift of aging. Life itself begins to strip away those false identities for you. Your children grow up and no longer need you in the same way. Your career ends. Your body slows down. The roles you spent decades building, defending, perfecting, they dissolve. One by one they fall away. This can feel like loss, like becoming less, like fading, or it can feel like liberation, like finally being allowed to rest, like coming home to who you've always been underneath all the doing, all the performing, all the endless effort to be somebody. There's a Buddhist teaching about the lotus flower. It grows in muddy water, its roots deep in the muck and darkness. But when it blooms, it rises above the surface, pristine, unstained, pure. The mud didn't corrupt it. The mud nourished it. And when the flower opened, there was no trace of mud upon its petals. That's you. You've walked through decades of mud, struggle, responsibility, expectation, disappointment, loss. But the awareness inside you, the witnessing presence that has been watching your life unfold since you were a child, has never been stained. It's still here, still whole, still luminous, still utterly at peace. The Buddha said this beautifully: peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. All these years you may have been looking for wholeness in what you accomplished, in who loved you, in what you achieved, in how you were seen by others. But wholeness was never out there. It was always right here, in the awareness that breathes you, that beats your heart, that watches your thoughts come and go like clouds across an empty sky. Right now, wherever you are, bring your attention to your breath. Don't change it. Don't improve it. Don't make it deeper or slower or more spiritual. Just notice it exactly as it is. Feel the air enter your nostrils. Feel your chest rise. Feel the pause at the top. Feel the air leave. Feel your chest fall. Feel the pause at the bottom. That's all. Just breath. Just presence. Just this. You are not the thoughts passing through your mind right now. You are the awareness noticing them. You are not the pain in your body. You are the presence that feels it. You are not your past. Those stories are over, finished, gone. You are not your future. It hasn't arrived yet, and may never come. You are this breath, and this one, and this one. And as long as you're breathing, you're still here, still whole, still capable of peace, still connected to the vast, timeless awareness that has been your true home all along. When you let go of everything except this breath, you discover something the Buddha promised 2,500 years ago. You've never been missing anything. You've always been complete. You just forgot to notice. You were so busy becoming, achieving, performing, proving, that you forgot you were already whole. And now, at 70, with the roles falling away and the doing subsiding, you're finally being given the space to remember, to come home, to rest in the awareness that has been waiting patiently all these years for you to notice it. This breath, this moment, this quiet, luminous presence. This is what truly matters. This is what you came here to find, and it was never anywhere else. It was always right here. We've walked through 6 teachings today, each one a doorway into what truly matters after 70 years of living. From releasing what no longer serves your soul to protecting your precious attention like the treasure it is. From choosing depth in relationships over shallow width to living consciously from your values rather than unconscious habits. From savoring ordinary moments as sacred ground to finally letting go of everything except the awareness that breathes you. These aren't lessons to master once and file away. They're invitations to return to again and again, each time you feel scattered, lost, or pulled in too many directions. Perhaps tomorrow morning you'll begin with the breath practice, simply noticing 3 conscious inhales and exhales before you even get out of bed. Perhaps you'll pause before picking up your phone and place your hand on your heart, asking, will this nourish me or drain me? Perhaps you'll choose one daily activity, your morning tea, washing your hands, those first steps of the day, and practice being fully present, just once, to see how it transforms the ordinary into something sacred. Even one small shift can change everything. If these teachings touched something in you, I invite you to walk this path with us. Subscribe to Quiet Wisdom, so ancient Buddhist wisdom can continue to find you in the moments you need it most. Over 86,000 souls are already here, discovering that aging isn't about fading, it's about finally coming into focus. Before you go, leave a comment below sharing which of these 6 lessons spoke to you most. Just type the number 1 through 6, or if you'd like, share why it resonated. Your words help others feel less alone and remind us all that we're walking this path together. May you be gentle with yourself in these precious years. May you discover that what truly matters has been waiting quietly all along, patient as your own breath. And may you remember the Buddha's timeless teaching. Be a lamp unto yourself. You are the light. Walk in peace, knowing that focus isn't about doing everything, it's about being fully present for the few things that make your soul come alive.